You fought for a 100% permanent and total rating, and now you've got it. It pays you a monthly check. But the same rating also qualifies you and your family for a whole set of other benefits, and the VA won't start a single one of them for you. You have to go after each one yourself. Let's walk through what they are and how you claim each one. Start with the check, the part you already see every month. At 100% with no dependents, it pays $3,938.58 a month at the rates that took effect December 1st, 2025. So those are the benefits you go claim. The rating also comes with protections that start automatically, guarding what you've got with no form to file. We'll cover both. But none of it counts for much until you can confirm your rating is both total and permanent. And that's harder than it should be, because the VA doesn't always say so plainly. A lot of decision letters never print the words permanent and total anywhere you'd think to look. So before you go after any of these benefits, you need to confirm what your rating says. That's where we'll start. By the end of this, you'll know how to confirm your permanent and total, which benefits that finding qualifies you for, and the protections that started the day your rating took effect. This is the Veteran Field Manual, plain English VA benefits, straight from the rules, with nothing to sell. Everything here's educational only. It isn't legal or VA accredited advice, and rates and rules change. If that's what you need, subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. Now let's start with what your rating says. When the VA grants 100% permanent and total, it's making two separate findings, not one. Total is the first finding. Permanent is a second, different one. It's easy to mix them together, and the difference is going to matter for everything that follows. Total is about how severe the disability is. It's when an impairment is severe enough to make it impossible for the average person to follow a substantially gainful occupation. That's the whole test. But total disability may or may not be permanent, so you can be rated totally disabled and still not carry the permanent finding. Permanent is the second finding, and it has its own separate test. Your disability is permanent when it's reasonably certain to continue for the rest of your life. So permanent is a prediction about the future, while total is a measure of how bad things are now. When you have both findings together, that's P and T, and the difference matters here because every one of the benefits coming up needs both. A 100% rating on its own won't get you there. So you need to know whether your rating is permanent and total or only total. The problem is, the decision letter often won't tell you. A lot of them have no line that reads permanent and total, no heading for it, nothing. When it's in there, it's usually buried inside the paragraph about your family's education. The line says that basic eligibility to dependents' educational assistance based on permanent and total disability status is established. If you don't have kids, you'd read a heading about school benefits and scroll right past your own status without knowing it. So don't rely on the decision letter for this. There's a document that answers it directly, called the Benefit Summary Letter. You can download it on va.gov under Download VA Benefit Letters, and it's also in the VA mobile app. It has a line that says, whether you're considered totally and permanently disabled, due solely to your service-connected disabilities, and right beside it, a plain yes or no. That letter is also the one you'll send in with most of the applications coming up. So download it once and keep it somewhere you can get to it, because nearly everything in the rest of this video is going to ask for it. One more thing before the benefits. If you're paid at the total rate through TDIU, total disability, based on individual unemployability, this all applies to you too. Where the VA has found your TDIU permanent, you qualify for the permanent and total benefits the same way. The finding on your record is what the VA checks. How you reach the total rate doesn't change what you qualify for. The first benefit is health coverage, and it isn't for you. Your own care runs through VA healthcare already. This one covers your family. It's called CHAMPVA, the Civilian Health and Medical Program of the Department of Veterans Affairs. It's a cost-sharing program, which means the VA pays part of the cost of covered care and your family pays the rest. Your spouse or your dependent child qualifies as long as you're rated permanently and totally disabled. One thing can change that answer, and it's TRICARE. If your family is already eligible for TRICARE, the military's health program, they can't use CHAMPVA. An active duty retirement usually makes your family TRICARE eligible. A Guard or Reserve retiree in the gray area isn't, so being retired doesn't settle it on its own. When TRICARE does cover your family, nothing's being taken from you. It's the same care arriving through TRICARE instead of the rating. So check your family's TRICARE eligibility before you file. CHAMPVA also reaches survivors. Your surviving spouse or dependent child is covered if you were rated permanently and totally disabled at the time of your death. And under that route, your death doesn't have to be related to the disability. The permanent and total rating being in place is enough on its own. If you're a surviving spouse, there's one rule to watch. If you remarry on or after your 55th birthday, you keep CHAMPVA. If you remarry before 55, it ends on the date of the remarriage. And if that later marriage ends, you can qualify again. To get your family on it, file the application for CHAMPVA benefits, VA, Form 10-10D. You can file online at va.gov or send it by mail or fax to the VA's Office of Community Care. Nobody gets enrolled just because you got rated, so someone in the family has to send it in. The second benefit pays for your family's education. It's a separate program from your own GI Bill, and it belongs to your dependent, not to you. The program is DEA, Dependents Educational Assistance, and you'll also hear it called Chapter 35. It can pay for college, for apprenticeships, and for on-the-job training. For a dependent going to college, the current rate is $1,574 a month at full-time, $1,244 at three-quarter time, and $912 at half-time. Those run from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026. Your dependent files this one, not you, on VA Form 22-5490. For training that started on or after August 1st, 2018, it pays for up to 36 months. If the training started before that date, up to 45. If your dependent's headed to school, we made a full episode on Chapter 35 that goes deeper than this. It's linked in the description. The third benefit is space-available travel on military aircraft. The list of who qualifies includes veterans with a permanent service-connected disability rated as total. Go in with clear expectations, though. You sit behind active duty members and their families for priority. The military doesn't have to modify an aircraft for a disability, and the flight commander still decides who boards. The whole program is discretionary. It's a real benefit, and it isn't a guaranteed seat. The fourth benefit comes from Social Security, not the VA. Social Security processes a disability claim faster for a veteran who's rated 100% permanent and total. You still have to apply. It's a separate claim from your VA one. Social Security usually flags a 100% P&T veteran automatically, but you can make sure. If you apply online, type the words Veteran 100% P&T into the remarks field and send your VA notification letter with the claim. Social Security then treats it as a high priority case, but faster isn't the same as approved. Social Security uses its own test, so your VA rating doesn't guarantee you a Social Security benefit, but your VA compensation won't reduce that payment either, so there's no downside to filing. You had to go after everything up to this point yourself. This next part is different. These protections switch on by themselves the day your rating takes effect. You don't file anything for them, and you don't have to know they exist for them to work. The first protection is about re-examinations. If you've ever worried about the VA calling you back in and taking the rating away, this is the part that answers it. The VA won't schedule a routine future exam when your disability is static, when your findings haven't materially improved in 5 years or more, or when the disability is permanent with no likelihood of improvement. And there's a part of that rule that's easy to miss. If you're over 55, the VA won't schedule you for routine future exams either, except in unusual circumstances. Past 55, the routine re-exams generally stop. Now, I won't oversell that to you. The same rule calls these general guidelines, and it says they don't take away the VA's authority to ask for a re-examination when it needs to, so the routine schedule stops. The VA can still look again if something genuinely changes. The second protection is about keeping the rating. The VA can't reduce a total rating, short of clear error, without an examination that shows material improvement. And that improvement has to be real in your daily life, not just a better day on an exam table. The VA has to consider whether it holds up under the ordinary conditions of life, meaning while you're working or trying to work. The third protection is the 20-year rule. Once a disability has been rated continuously at or above a level for 20 years, the VA can't drop it below that level unless it finds the rating was based on fraud. It counts from the effective date, so it may already be running for you. The fourth protection is for your family, and it's an easy one to get wrong. It's called DIC, Dependency and Indemnity Compensation, a monthly payment to survivors. The normal way it's paid is when a veteran dies from a service-connected condition. But your survivors can also get it when you didn't die from the service-connected condition, as long as that disability was rated totally disabling for 10 or more years, right up to your death. 5 years is enough if it ran from your discharge. 1 year is enough if you were a former prisoner of war. There's a condition on it. Your surviving spouse has to have been married to you for at least 1 year right before your death, or the two of you had a child together. Every one of these runs off a date already printed on your rating decision. There's nothing to file and nothing to ask for. The only way to lose out is to not know the protection exists in the first place. Here's a field note. The VA decides your rating and mails you the letter, and that letter doesn't come with a list of everything the rating qualifies you for. And no program here starts on its own. So working through this list is on you. There's one benefit that gets credited to permanent and total that doesn't come from it. That's access to the commissary and to morale, welfare, and recreation facilities. The rule just says a service-connected disability. It doesn't say total, and it doesn't say permanent. Any service-connected rating gets you in down to 10%. If you waited until you hit total to use it, you could have been going years earlier. And that works the other way too. Some real benefits don't need permanent and total at all, so don't hold off on them waiting for it. Extra compensation for dependents starts at 30%. Special monthly compensation, or SMC, runs on its own separate criteria. The home loan funding fee waiver applies to any veteran receiving compensation. Go claim those at whatever rating you already have. 3 things to keep. Total and permanent are 2 separate findings. The benefit summary. Letter tells you which ones you have in a plain yes or no. And you have to go after each benefit yourself while every protection is already running. So start by downloading your benefit summary letter and reading that yes or no line. Everything else depends on that one answer. From there, if you've got a spouse or dependent kids and your family isn't TRICARE eligible, file CHAMPVA on Form 10-10D. If a dependent's headed to school, have them file Chapter 35 on Form 22-5490. And if you've got a spouse, know that the survivor protection is already working for them in the background. Thanks for watching this all the way through. If you know a veteran sitting on a total rating who's never claimed any of this, send it their way. That's what it's for. And that's the whole reason it's free. And down in the comments, tell us what your decision letter said or what your benefit summary letter came back with. There's another veteran searching that exact question tonight, and your answer is how they find it. Subscribe so the next chapter gets to them too. That rating is the end of a long fight, and you earned it. Now you know what it qualifies you for and how to go claim each piece. And if you're paid at the total rate through TDIU and you're still not sure whether your finding is permanent, we've got a full episode on TDIU. This is the Veteran Field Manual. Stay in the fight.